Hello, Tiger Cubs, and welcome back to TCN.
Jude and I are back this week and excited to anchor for you.
Roman?
Jude?
Roman, you look different again. Did you get another haircut?
Yeah, I did. Thanks for noticing.
No problem.
Well, anyways, let's start off this episode with ASB announcements.
Hello, Tiger Cubs! For this week's ASB announcements, we have the BMX Bike Show on Friday, December 16th. For those who participated in the Step It Up fundraiser, ASB is hosting a group for a special stunt show. To participate, come pick up your wristbands before school the morning of December 16th. How do you know if you qualify for the BMX Bike Show? Look for your name on Mrs. Williams' door or outside the office. Next week, on December 19th, 20th, and 21st, is Winter Week. This is a special spirit week to celebrate winter and a great first semester. To kick it off, on Monday, Pajama Day, wear your PJs to school. On Tuesday is Ugly Sweater Day, so be sure to show off your ugly sweaters. To end off the week, Winter Wonderland Wednesday, which is also the last day of school before winter break. Wear your blue and white clothing.
I love school spirit, Jude.
Yes, you do, Roman. And one way you can show spirit is going to the sports games.
Yeah, and speaking of teams, let's see how they did this week.
We hit the field like whoa! We hit the field like whoa! We hit the field like all day like offense like defense like attack is like and it sound like and it sound like and it sound like
Hey Tiger Cubs, I'm Sammy,
And I'm Roman.
and welcome back to the sports segment for the week. Our 8th grade boys basketball teams had 2 games last week, one against Foothills and the other against Jefferson.
They lost both games. The first one 60-25 against Foothill, and the other one a close game with Jefferson pulling ahead at the last second and nailing a buzzer beater for a 27-26 win. Last week, the 7th grade boys basketball team fell just short of a win against Foothills, losing a close 47-47.
They also played Jefferson, winning 56-10 in a blowout.
Our 7th and 8th grade girls team combined for their games this week, ending up with a 47-37 win against Jefferson.
Our tennis team had a meet last Friday, and we'll update you guys on the scores in the next episode.
That's all for this week, Tiger Cubs, and we'll see you.
The Netherlands would lose to Argentina in penalties after an astounding 18 combined yellow cards, and both teams would be charged over $15,000 in misconduct fines. Croatia would beat Brazil after winning in penalty kicks, with star Neymar stating, quote, "I will not close the door to playing with Brazil, nor do I say 100% that I'll come back." France would beat England 2-1 after English star Harry Kane missed a heartbreaking penalty right over the goal. Later that day, Morocco would upset Portugal, becoming the first African team ever to make it to the semifinals.
Hey, Jude, what's your favorite subject?
I really like learning about history.
Well, let's see what happened in This Day in History.
Then let's see some internet history followed after.
Hey Tiger Cubs, welcome back to everyone's favorite TCN segment. This episode is going to be jam-packed with lots of historical events so we can get our grades up. The Mayflower Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth Bay, which not only helped transform America into the country it is today, but it helped us all have Thanksgiving dinner. In addition, the Mona Lisa was finally recovered after being stolen from the Louvre Museum by Vincio Peruggia. President Joe Biden was officially confirmed to have won the Electoral College by a margin of 74 points, beating out former President Trump. In more local history, San Francisco had its coldest day in 1932, where it reached an all-time low of 27 degrees. Can you imagine California being that cold? Lots of film premieres happened on this day as well. Spider-Man No Way Home was released, which became one of the most famous Marvel movies of all time. Honorable mentions include Joe Burrow wins 85th Heisman Trophy, Supreme Court officializes George Bush's victory in the 2000 election, Napoleon's invasion of Russia ends, Norway is the first nation to reach the South Pole, Superman the movie and the Fellowship of the Ring also premiered, Driving Miss Daisy was released, which won Best Picture in 1990, Star Wars The Force Awakens was released, and 50 Cent won the 14th Billboard Award.
Sporkle is a site known as the home of quizzes. You can test your geography skills, correspond the Taylor Swift music video to the song, and you've actually probably used it for some of your classes. But what did it look like when it started? Sporkle was founded on July 4th, 2007, but the first snapshot was on April 23rd, 2007. It featured what most websites started as back in the day, an explanation of what was to come. And you're probably wondering where the name Sporkle came from. Well, Sporkle is short for Sporting Oracle, because Sporkle used to just be for sports. The first snapshot is pretty underwhelming though, so let's fast forward a bit. In 2008, we jump and a lot of changes have been made. It's now home to any quiz someone wants to create. The hardest one for me was trying to find the colors of the rainbow. This is when the site started to form to what it is today. They added a search engine, a stats section, and just like every other website, when they become popular, they added a subscription. Nothing new came in 2009, so 2010, they got an app. That's literally it. 2011, they got an Android app and revamped the user interface to look a lot cleaner. They had a leaderboard where colleges could compete on the site, and they also added something called the Daily Dose, where you could play 4 new games every day. That was pretty much the last year they added anything. Sure, they made a couple user interface revamps, but 2011 Sporkle is pretty much where it stands today. I feel like Sporkle is the least problematic site we've talked about in internet history besides the school site, so that's nice. It has always really been a quiz site, so it's nice to see a site still keeping the style they had over a decade ago. Thanks for watching this episode of Internet History. I hope you learned something.
Hey, Jude, is there anything else you want to learn about?
Yeah, but maybe something a little different from those 2 segments.
How about some mythology?
Sounds great, Roman.
Our story starts with Hrothgar, who is crowned king after fighting in a massive war. Then Hrothgar uses his wealth to build a mead hall called Harrod. His thanes and him spend their days drinking and partying in there. Soon, the partying angers a monster named Grendel. Grendel lives in a swamp called the Lake of Monsters. And soon, Grendel gets annoyed by all the Danes partying and comes up with a plan to kill 30 of them. This does not stop them from partying, so he returns every night. Hrothgar begins to take notice and gets tired of Grendel's constant murder spree, so he calls the aides to kill the monster. Then arrives Beowulf and his men. Hrothgar has known Beowulf since he was a kid, and since then, he made a name for himself killing monsters. So Hrothgar asks Beowulf if he has a plan, and Beowulf says that since Grendel is not a warrior because he doesn't use weapons, they will fight him in hand-to-hand combat. Everyone at Harrod thinks that's a great idea and parties because they're Nords while partying. A warrior named E12 accepts the week-long swimming contest that Beowulf lost to. Beowulf says that is true, and he lost because he was in full plate armor and he was slowed down by 9 sea monsters he had to kill. After the story, Beowulf preps by removing all his armor and waits in Harrod for Grendel. Grendel busts down the door and sees Beowulf, and they fight each other for a while until Beowulf rips off Grendel's arm. So Beowulf gives Hrothgar Grendel's arm, and Hrothgar gives Beowulf a reward. E12 apologizes for underestimating him and gives Beowulf a sword named Hrunting.
Let's see a movie review with our favorite decaying lycopersicans.
And then we'll see some funny animals following after.
Hello and welcome back to Decaying Lycopersican. The movie we will be reviewing this week is Minions Rise of Gru. Let's start off with the plot.
This movie is a sequel to The Minions. Gru is trying to become a supervillain, so he goes to a team of supervillains called the Vicious Six to try and join them because they have a spot open.
They turn him down, so he steals their amulet to prove his worth. The plot, however, did make a mistake on how the Minions meet Gru, and it does not follow the Minions 1 plotline.
In the first film, they meet Gru after he gets the crown from Scarlet Overkill. However, in Rise of Gru, they meet him through a Help Wanted poster. Because of that, we give the plot a 7 out of 10.
Now on to the characters. There's a new minion added. Before there was only Kevin, Bob, and Stuart. In this movie, a new minion named Otto joins.
Otto looks like a basic minion but with braces, and he is unneeded to the plot as he is only there to fill some time gaps. We rate the characters an 8 out of 10. Overall, we rate this movie a 7.5 out of 10.
Now, let's see some on-Earth news.
But before that, let's hear our favorite trivia and random ranks.
For him, he said he likes Doritos.
And what about you?
Yeah, I like Doritos better because it's thinner and it's crispier. Yeah.
Pringles or Sun Chips?
Sun Chips. Probably Sun Chips.
So when you eat chips, what do you like better, Doritos or Sun Chips?
Sun chips. Doritos. Doritos, of course.
Doritos! Sun chips are nasty.
Once again, this episode is sadly over.
Let's finish the episode with birthday and credits, but before that,
Sayonara, Tiger Cubs.